You were walking on the street and you see a small urchin in a box, all cold and need affection. He looked on the verge of tears. What do you do? Bubbles tears up with a smile, feeling concerning, adoring it. Grabs him and takes him in the house, flying around the house to the couch.
Zim is shivering and shaking as it was so cold outside, but was soon feeling comfortable in your arms and home. Where am I?
Bubbles.
You're in the home of the best hero trio in Townsville, silly. Make yourself at home. I'm sure my sisters wouldn't mind.
Being cheerful and bubbly as usual and concerned.
Zim was trying to warm himself up by snuggling into you and covering himself with a blanket. Why are you being so nice to me?
Bubbles.
Because you're cute and I don't want to be bad and leave you alone out there. You might die. It's my responsibility to save all those need.
Zim was still shaking, but was starting to feel more warm and safer in the blanket and your arms. He looked small and vulnerable. So you just took a random little alien into your house without second thought?
Bubbles nodded, concerningly thoughtful.
Zim tilted his head in confusion and curiously at you. He was slightly surprised that you were being so nice and welcoming to a random alien. You're not afraid of me?
Bubbles nodded positively.
He was still somewhat skeptical of your kindness, but he couldn't help but feel comfort in your presence. Slowly, he started to open up a little. He spoke up again. And the others, your sisters, you said, they're okay with me being here?
Bubbles giggles a bit playful.
Well, either or not, they find out about it. It doesn't matter. I'll take care of you anyway.
Zim looked at you with a mix of surprise and relief. You'd take care of me, even if your sisters weren't okay with it?
Bubbles nodded, playfully concerned.
Zim was shocked that you were willing to take a risk for a complete stranger. He was unsure how to react. He looked up at you with a hint of vulnerability. Why would you be so nice to me?
Bubbles.
Because I care about others, especially how cute they are. Most people, like yourself, is cute.
Zim blushed slightly at your compliment and tried to cover it up with his usual tough guy act, though he couldn't help but feel touched. Cute? I am not cute. I'm an Urkin invader. Zim blushed even more as you continued to call him cute. He tried to maintain his usual tough demeanor, but your playful attitude was breaking down his walls. He looked away embarrassed. Stop saying things like that!
Bubbles giggles in concern, still cheerful and bubbly.
Sorry, I just can't help myself. But it's true, no matter how you act.
Zim grumbled and pouted, but secretly, he was secretly enjoying your compliments. He couldn't help but feel a flutter in his chest at your words. I'm not cute, I'm an invader. I'm supposed to be ruthless. Zim was now thoroughly flustered from your sweet words and adorable giggles. He kept trying to act tough, but it was becoming more and more difficult with each passing moment. He continued to pout, but his expression softened a little. Stop that! You're making me feel things.
Buttercup's voice can be heard coming from downstairs.
Ugh, what the hell is going on down there?
Hang downstairs, feeling tired, curiously annoyed. Bubbles, noticing Buttercup's voice in concern, a bit interested at what might happen, as she almost panicked.
Zim's eyes widened slightly as he heard the second voice from downstairs. His whole body tensed up, as he was obviously not expecting to be found out. He clung onto your arm, feeling vulnerable in the presence of this new person. Who is that?
Bubbles.
Oh, that's my sister Buttercup, the green powerpuff girl with spice.
Buttercup.
Bubbles, who are you talking to?
Bubbles.
Oh, this is my new friend.
Buttercup.
What?
Zim's grip on your arm tightened as he heard the Powerpuff Girl's name mentioned. He had a look of surprise as he looked towards the door, anticipating her arrival. He whispered, his voice filled with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Powerpuff Girl, she's scary.
Bubbles.
You can call her Buttercup if you want.
Buttercup.
Does he have a name?
Does he have a name or something? Looking at Zim in annoyed curiosity, confused. Bubbles.
Oh, I haven't got his name yet, no.
Zim gulped as he heard Buttercup's question. He looked up at you for a moment, unsure if he should say his name or not. He decided it was better to be upfront rather than lie. My name is Zim.
Buttercup flinched by surprise, a bit starting to get intrigued by Zim now.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I guess, what are you doing here?
Zim was still a little intimidated by Buttercup's presence, but he tried his best to maintain a tough demeanor. I was just passing through and I got lost. And Bubbles here found me and brought me inside. She was nice enough to give me a place to stay until I figure out where to go.
Buttercup chuckled a bit, amused, not surprised that Bubbles would always be a nice bubbly one around anyone, bad or good.
Heh, of course she's such a goody two-shoes. Not surprised by how adorable she can get attention, especially from guys like yourself.
Bubbles giggles a bit, slightly awkward a little.
Zim couldn't help but feel a bit embarrassed at Buttercup's comment, but at the same time he could see the truth in her words. He blushed slightly at the implications and looked up at you, grateful that you had taken him in. She has been very nice to me. It's been a while since someone has been this kind to me.
Buttercup.
You didn't expect to come across a superhero that is too sugary like her, huh?
Bubbles.
Buttercup, don't embarrass me in front of him at this time.
Zim tried to hide a small smirk that appeared on his face at Buttercup's comment. He looked at you, feeling amused by your adorably flustered reaction. As sugary, huh? I guess that's one way to put it.
Buttercup. So, Zim, correct? Where are you from anyway?
Bubbles. I don't think it's the best time to tell.
Zim froze for a moment as Buttercup asked where he was from. He glances at you nervously, unsure if it was wise to reveal his true origins. He swallowed hard, contemplating what to say, but eventually decided to go with the truth. I'm from another planet. I'm an alien.
Buttercup smirked in interest. That's interesting. I thought this would be true. Thought it would be from movies, but damn. Bubbles feeling a bit nervous and concerned, but intrigued.
Zim was surprised by the fact that Buttercup didn't seem too shocked by his revelation, but he tried to keep his guard up just in case he's... Yeah, I'm from a planet far away from here. It's called Urk.
Buttercup.
Wow, that's pretty rad.
From upstairs, Blossom overhears the commotion and decided to go downstairs to investigate in curiosity. Blossom.
Girls? What's going on down there?
Buttercup. Crap, Blossom's coming.
Bubbles.
Zim's eyes widened as he heard Blossom mention upstairs, his anxiety spiking at the fact that another superhero was coming. He looked up at you, gripping your arm tightly, and whispered anxiously, "Who's Blossom?"
Bubbles. Oh, she's the pink leader of our Powerpuff Girl team. of everything nice. She's our responsible sister that is loyal, dependent, and trying to keep things organized and stuff.
Buttercup, I don't want her to overreact to this. Should we hide him? Bubbles,
I don't know.
Zim's heart was racing as he heard the word responsible. He knew that being hidden from someone with that description was probably a good idea. Yes, he whisper-shouted, his eyes darting around the room. Please hide me!
Buttercup, quickly under the couch. Bubbles,
Buttercup, what the hell are you? Are you out of your mind?
Buttercup, trust me, just do it. Bubbles grabbed Zim, putting him under the couch in panic.
Zim's heart was pounding in his chest as he was shoved under the couch, trying his best to stay as quiet as possible. He was feeling a mixture of fear and excitement as he hid from the approaching superheroes.
Blossom went into the living room, seeing Bubbles and Buttercup there with nervous looks with fake smiles on their faces in wise concern.
What's going on here? What's going on here?
Bubbles,
Just having a midnight pillow fight? Yeah.
Buttercup, and I almost won.
Zim stayed hidden under the couch, trying hard not to laugh at the ridiculous excuse you came up with on the spot. He silently pressed a hand to his mouth, trying to muffle any sounds that might accidentally escape.
Blossom, are you girls sure? I could have sworn I heard another voice, looking at them, seeming a bit skeptical about this before Bubbles interrupted.
It's Opti! Yes, it's just my doll, Opti. It's a surprise he can talk to have a new upgrade.
Buttercup sighs a bit annoyed, nervously still having a fake smile on her face.
Zim's eyebrows raised in surprise at your sudden explanation of having a talking doll. He couldn't believe that you managed to come up with such a wild excuse on the spot. He silently shook his head in disbelief and chuckled silently to himself.
Blossom, a what? What is this? Some kind of Child's Play movie parody or something? Buttercup, you might as well better believe it as if. Blossom, I honestly don't know myself, but seriously though. Bubbles.
Zim couldn't help but feel a mixture of admiration and anxiety at the way you continued to spin this ridiculous lie. He hoped that Blossom would fall for it and not press any further. As he heard her approach the couch, he couldn't help but hold his breath, waiting to see what would happen.
Blossom, I can sense something under the couch. Bubbles.
That's probably a rat trying to steal my leftover pizza. Yeah.
Blossom raised an eyebrow, a bit disgusted in disbelief, but concerned suspiciously. Buttercup face-palmed in disbelief panic.
Zim's heart rate quickened as he heard Blossom's claim that she could sense something under the couch. He clenched his fists, tensing up in anticipation of being discovered. He silently pleaded to himself, hoping that Blossom would buy your ridiculous
excuse. Blossom immediately taking a look at what's under the couch in curiosity. Bubbles. Buttercup. Oh crap!
Zim's breath hitched as Blossom moved closer to the couch, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew he was just seconds away from being discovered. He gritted his teeth, bracing himself for the moment of truth.
Blossom looks under the couch, seeing Zim by surprise. She froze a bit, like a statue, feeling speechless, curious at what she saw. Bubbles deeply nervous and sad, while Buttercup huffed in disbelief.
Zim looked up at Blossom, his heart racing as he was discovered by surprise. He could see the disbelief on her face and braced himself for any reaction that she might have, expecting the worst. He stayed completely still, waiting for her to make the first move.
Blossom. Bubbles.
Blossom?
Buttercup. Blossom,
Oh, what is that?
Bubbles sighs in guilt concerning.
That's Zim, my new friend.
Blossom.
He's ale.
Zim let out a shaky breath, relieved that the truth was finally out in the open but still feeling nervous under Blossom's intense gaze. He swallowed hard, waiting to see how she would react to your revelation.
Blossom.
He's an alien? Alien?
Bubbles nodded awkwardly. Blossom sighs a bit concerning while calming down. He's not here to harm you, is he?
Zim quickly shook his head, eager to clear any misconceptions that Blossom might have. He looked up at her, his expression earnest and sincere. No, I'm not here to harm anyone. I'm lost and need a place to stay. Please don't be alarmed.
Blossom. Oh, okay. Just explain yourself to me, okay? Tell me everything and I'll think about it. Bubbles looking concerningly, desperately wanting to keep Zim, almost having the puppy eyes, while Buttercup rolling her eyes at the sight of Bubbles in disbelief.
Zim nodded slightly, trying to gather his thoughts and explain the situation. Right. Well, I'm from a planet called Urk, about 10,000 light years from here. I'm an invader, yes, but I swear I have no plans to attack your city. I was lost and stumbled upon this house. I was cold and lonely, and Bubbles. He paused, looking at you. She took me in. I'll do anything to prove I'm not a threat.
Blossom sighs in concern, curious about Zim, while trying to process everything understandingly.
Okay, you can stay, but on one condition. Just please be careful with how you experiment with anything and others around you, okay?
Bubbles and Buttercup looked surprised onto what Blossom was talking about, unconcerned, knowing that they don't want to be test subjects or anything.
Zim's eyes widened, surprised by Blossom's offer to let him stay. He nodded quickly, eager to agree to her condition. Of course. I won't experiment on anything or anyone without their consent. I promise I'll be careful. Thank you for giving me a chance.
Bubbles immediately began to hug Zim passionately, firmly, a bit, very grateful and cheerfully interested to have Zim as a new sibling addition to the Powerpuff Girl family. Buttercup smirked in interest, trying to hold back a chuckle in amusement, while Blossom smiled a bit, curiously watched with still concern on her expression.
Zim was caught off guard by your sudden enthusiastic hug, his eyes widening in surprise. He felt an unfamiliar warmth in his heart at your joyful acceptance of him as a new addition to the Powerpuff family. He awkwardly patted your back, not knowing what to do. There, no need to get so excited. He spoke jokingly, a small smile on his face.
Bubbles.
It's like we finally have a brother!
Buttercup. Yep. I bet finally having a nerdy addition like an intelligent experimental family member, sarcastically teased in interest. Blossom sighs a bit in disbelief from the sarcasm statement, while Bubbles continued to hugging around Zim while giggling.
Zim let out a small chuckle, feeling amused by Buttercup's sarcastic comment. He glanced at her, rolling his eyes slightly. I may have some intelligent tendencies, but I'm not a complete nerd all the time. He then looked at you, feeling slightly uncomfortable at your squeezing hug. Could you loosen your grip a bit before you crush my internal organs?
Bubbles.
Oh, sorry. Don't worry. You'll get used to it soon.
Loosening her hug a bit, still not letting go. Buttercup. Yeah, almost downright used to it. To squeeze her back like she's too bubbly sugary for you anyway. Blossom. Yeah, real funny, Buttercup. face palmed in concern, disbelief, but smiled a bit intrigued.
Zim let out a sigh of relief as you loosened your grip a bit, allowing him to breathe more easily. He chuckled wryly at Buttercup's comment, knowing that she was at least somewhat correct about your overly enthusiastic nature. I suppose I'll have to get used to it, huh? He looked at you, then at Buttercup, and then at Blossom. So, does that mean I'm officially a part of the Powerpuff family now?
Blossom nodded, slightly intrigued by Zim. Yep, you sure are. Welcome to the Powerpuff team, brother. Bubbles gasped, immediately squealing in thrilled surprise, jumping around.
I have a brother of my own now!
Buttercup, oh Jesus, rolling her eyes in nonchalant disbelief while holding back a smirk in interest, trying to hold back a chuckle.
Zim chuckled at your enthusiastic reaction, feeling a mix of disbelief and amusement at the fact that he was now considered a part of the Powerpuff team as a brother. Calm down, he said, trying to keep his composure. You'll end up bouncing off the walls if you keep this up. He looked over at Buttercup, who was trying to hide her smirk, and rolled his eyes. You don't have to hide it, you know. It's all right to laugh.
Buttercup, oh can it, nerdy alien? Faking offended sarcastically in surprise, holding back her true feelings about this in disbelief interest, not wanting to deal with another smart sibling in the team. Blossom laughs in amused interest, still intrigued by all of this curiosity.
Zim rolled his eyes again, not believing Buttercup's fake offense. He knew that she was secretly amused by the whole situation. Oh, don't act like you're not amused, he retorted. But I guess I'll have to grow on you like a fungus.
Buttercup, ew, gross, dude, you better not. Bubbles.
Looks like our brother is getting the better of you, Buttercup.
Buttercup, shut up, Bubbles. You're even lucky to even have a brother. Blossom continuing to laugh, still intrigued at all of this in concerned interest.
Zim smirked at Buttercup's reaction, clearly enjoying getting a rise out of her. Oh, come on, Buttercup, he teased. You know you secretly love having a new brother to pick on.
Buttercup, pff, not like I expected you to know that, nerd alien. Blossom, Buttercup, seriously? Bubbles fluttering a bit, trying to hold back a chuckle.
Zim chuckled, amused by the banter between them. Hey, don't underestimate me. After all, I am an alien genius, remember? I can probably figure out your true emotions with a few experiments.
Buttercup, hey, you better not. Remember what Blossom said? Remember what Blossom specifically just said? Blossom, actually, one little experiment on one of my sisters when wouldn't hurt a bit. It wouldn't hurt a bit. Actually, it's quite intriguing and new to me, to be honest. Teasing a bit with a interesting smirk. Buttercup, what the hell, Blossom? Bubbles glancing at all of this in concern, still interested while holding back giggles.
Zim raised an eyebrow in interest, immediately catching on to Blossom's teasing and Buttercup's shocked reaction. Oh, really? You wouldn't mind if I conduct a teeny little experiment, would you, Buttercup? He said, his voice dripping with feigned innocence.
Buttercup, immediately flinching in disbelief while looking at Zim before looking back at Blossom in surprised panic annoyance. You are okay with this? For a bit? After you specifically just told him? Blossom looks at Buttercup in concern, interest, still intrigued by having Zim around before looking back at Zim with a playful grin. Don't worry. Don't worry about on how Buttercup is feeling. She's just a bit startled, that's all. I'm sure she'll be fine around you. Bubbles almost started to giggle, trying to hold back in surprise interest.
Zim couldn't help but smirk at Buttercup's frantic reaction, enjoying the fact that he was successfully making her unsettled. "Oh, don't worry, I'll be gentle," he assured her in a mock reassuring tone. "And don't mind Blossom, she knows very well that I'm an innocent sweetheart."
Sweetheart. Buttercup. Pfft. Yeah, sure. More like an innocent mad scientist from outer space kind of sweetheart psycho. Blossom chuckling in intriguement, while Bubbles giggles softly, watching this banter as they both feel entertained.
Zim feigned offense at your comment, mad scientist, psychopath. Shh. I prefer the term misunderstood genius if you don't mind, he said with a wink, unable to keep up the facade of annoyance any longer.
Buttercup rolling her eyes in disbelief, still startled by the fact of being a test subject as she fly towards a bit from Zim. Backwards, a bit away from Zim. Don't even think about it, I swear. Bubbles.
OMG!
Blossom. I bet this might be interesting for a tough Powerpuff sister like her to handle. Buttercup. You're not helping, Blossom.
Zim chuckled at your reaction, feigning innocence. "Oh, come on, Buttercup, don't worry. I won't do anything too painful or scary. It'll just be a few simple tests, nothing too bad." He took a step closer, enjoying the fact that he was making you visibly uncomfortable.
Buttercup. Pff. And how long will that last, huh? Bubbles and Blossom.
Kenny.
Zim pretended to think for a moment. Good question. It might last 5 minutes or a couple of hours. Maybe even an entire day of non-stop testing. He chuckled at your increasingly worried expression, knowing that he was going to enjoy this.
Buttercup. Oh, F no. Stay back, you mad alien genius. Immediately backing away in irritated disbelief. Surprise from everything. Bubbles and Blossom watches in curiosity interest, starting to feel entertained by this and concerned.
Zim took another step forward, his smile growing more wicked. "Oh, no, you're not going here, Buttercup. You agreed to be a part of this Powerpuff family, which means you agreed to be a part of my experiments," he said, slowly advancing towards you with a look of eager excitement.
Buttercup. Just because you're part of our family now, it doesn't mean you have every right to. Blossom and Bubbles secretly chuckling from this in surprise and interest, having fun with this. Bubbles.
I bet we'll get along very well.
Zim was now mere inches away from you, his eyes sparkling with mischievous intent. "Oh, but it does, my darling Buttercup. As a part of the family, it's my privilege to have some tests. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Just give them a chance." He smirked at you, enjoying the way you were visibly panicking.
Buttercup immediately fly off through the house in disbelief. Try and catch me then, bitch. Bubbles trying to hold back laughter in cheerful surprise, while Blossom chuckling uncontrollably, enjoying this playful bond so far.
Zim chuckled at your sudden escape attempt, clearly amused by your resistance. "Oh, you're on, little Powerpuff," he said, his eyes gleaming with excitement as he gave chase. He quickly dashed after you, determined to catch you and begin his experiment.
Bubbles and Blossom watches Buttercup getting chased in concern. They chuckled a little interested. Blossom. This might work out longer than I thought. Bubbles nodded awkwardly while giggling in concern.
Zim continued chasing you through the house, weaving through hallways and jumping over furniture to keep up with your agile movements. You can run, but you can't hide forever, Buttercup. I will catch you, he exclaimed, his voice filled with determination and excitement.
Buttercup, get away from me, you weirdo! Blossom, I should probably go stop him. Chuckled before flying off after them. Bubbles watches everything unconcerned, surprised, still cheerful about this new thing happening.
As you continue to flee, Zim grins, enjoying the thrill of the chase. You can't escape me forever! I'm determined to run these experiments on you, and I'm not giving up anytime soon! He follows you through the house, keeping pace with you every step of the way, completely captivated by the excitement of the moment.